How do we approach a deal with integrity? Very concerned about that. I'm concerned about ever feeling like I ripped anybody off, I cheated anybody out of money. I had a friend of mine call me up about somebody, a friend of his, that had a house they were wanting to sell. Their mama was moving out of it because they were a little bit older. Not this particular house right here. This is a rental. Called me up. He said they want to know what it's worth. They're thinking about tearing the house down and just selling it for the price of the land, which they assumed was about $100,000. So for me, walking onto this deal, I know right out the gate, all I got to do is say, hey, let's tear it down. Why don't you tear it down? And if you want $100,000, I'll buy the house from you. And probably could have picked up the house from them. But as I went over there and looked at the land, I looked at the house. It's 2,000 square foot. It's not in that bad a shape. So as I look at it, and I'm talking to the guy that owns it, he just moved his mama into his house. I'm talking to him and his sister. He said, so what do you think it's worth? I said, I think the house is worth at a bare minimum $250. He said, $250? I said, yeah. So that's what, if you put it up for auction, you'll get $250 out of it. Telling him, I think if I was gonna list it, it needs a little bit of work, but how many houses in my area are at $250,000, even $300,000? Almost nothing. I mean, it is so hard to find a house in that price range. If I got a $700,000 house over here, how many people in our community can buy a $700,000 house? Not many, right, Nick?
No,
I mean, they just cannot afford the note. If you look at a $700,000 house, you're going to be paying $6,500 a month on the note right now.
That's so much.
It's just crazy, and that's more than most people make. I told him, I said, why don't you list it for $300,000? Let somebody make you an offer on it. If you get $250 for it, that's awesome, and you might get $275 for it. You might get a bidding war between a couple of different people and get more. It might happen. That was an opportunity that I could come in and I could take a house real cheap, but it's cheating somebody out of money. So I want all of my viewers to understand we don't cheat people out of money, and you shouldn't cheat people out of money either. I think as we approach everything in life, if we do it with integrity, we will always come out on top. So I really want to encourage you, as you're going out there doing your real estate deals, never lie, never twist the truth, always give people your honest opinion. And if you can take advantage of somebody, don't. Even though you can, don't. Always treat people like you want to be treated, because I think that is the biggest thing that we need to do in our communities now. Everybody's out for themselves. We don't need to be out for ourselves. We need to be out for the community. We need to make sure that we protect everybody, and we need to make sure that people don't get ripped off. This man's mom has lived there her whole life. She's in her 70s. She's retired, or she's trying to just finish out life and enjoy a little bit of it. So I could go in and rip her off, and then she doesn't get the quality of life that she really deserves these last 10 or 20 years of her life. But if we do it right, then it helps her with the quality of her life. And I think that does something to me inside, and it gives me a bit of self-worth, and it gives me a bit of self-pride that allows me to be able to go up into the next deal and know that under no circumstances am I ever going to cheat somebody out of money. Even if you can, I am not going to cheat you out of money. I wouldn't do it. I would never do it. Now, at the same sense, I had another person call me up about a house they wanted to sell. I went and talked to them about it. They asked me what the house was worth. I told them it was worth probably $250,000, $275,000. Another modular home. I said I would list it probably, I told them the same thing, I'd probably list it in the high 200s, let somebody make you an offer, maybe you only get $250, but maybe you get $270 for it. They looked at me and they said, well, we want to sell it to you, will you buy it? I said, well, I can't cash flow it at that number, the rents aren't high enough to cash flow it. They said, no, we want to sell it to you for $170. And I said, why would you sell it to me for $170 if I just told you that it's worth $270? You're losing $100,000. And the lady told me, and they're friends of mine, but we're not close friends, we're just friends. And she said, Winston, we really just want you to have the house. Where one deal you do one way, one deal you do another way, it comes back. God is good, life is hard, real estate makes it a little bit easier. Try it.